All right, let's talk about AI automation. We're going to cut right through all the confusing stuff today. My only goal here is to give you a super clear, solid foundation that you can actually build on. So, let's dive in.
If you've ever looked at this topic and just felt completely overwhelmed, you are definitely not alone. It's this whole world of jargon and complex tools, and it's so easy to feel like you're already 5 steps behind. But we're going to fix that right now. So where do most people go wrong? Well, they almost always start by trying to learn some fancy, complicated tool. And look, that's like trying to build a house by going out and buying the most expensive saw you can find before you've even sketched out a blueprint. It's backwards, and it almost always ends in frustration, making you think this whole thing is just way too complicated.
So we're going to do this the right way. I want you to completely forget about the tools, just for a little while. Instead, we're going to focus on the core ideas. We're going to build your understanding with a couple of really simple foundational blocks. And by the end of this, I promise, you're going to have that blueprint.
Okay, let's grab our very first building block. And you'll notice something important here. The word intelligence is absolutely nowhere to be found. We're talking about simple, kind of old-school automation.
So what is it really? At its heart, automation is basically a very obedient but, well, dumb servant. It just follows a super strict set of rules that a person gives it. The classic formula is always, if this happens, then do that. That's it. No more, no less.
And here's a perfect example. The trigger, right? A new email with an attachment lands in your inbox. The action? The system automatically saves that attachment to a specific folder. The key thing to see here is that the system isn't thinking. It's not wondering, is this an important attachment? It's just following a direct order.
Okay, so let's put that automation block down for a second. Now we're going to pick up a completely different block. This one is all about thinking, and it involves zero action. This, my friends, is artificial intelligence. So, unlike our dumb servant, AI is all about finding patterns in tons of data so it can make a prediction or a judgment call. It's the thinking part of the puzzle. But, and this is so important, by itself, it doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't take action in the real world.
Just think about it for a second. When you use ChatGPT and it writes a sentence, it's really just making a very educated guess about which word should come next. Or when your phone's software sees a cat in a photo, it's just made a decision based on all the patterns of cat it's seen before. In every case, the AI is just giving you information. It's not taking an action.
This right here, this captures the difference perfectly. If you can get this, you've got the key. Automation is the worker on the assembly line, just following the manual step by step. AI is the consultant who comes in, analyzes the situation, and then makes a recommendation. See? Two totally different jobs. All right, so we've got our two separate blocks. We have the doing block and the thinking block. Now for the really cool part, the magic moment. Let's see what happens when we click them together.
And there it is. This is AI automation. It's a system where we use the AI's amazing ability to make a choice to then tell the simple automation what to do. The AI becomes the brain, and the automation becomes the hands.
Let's make this real with an example. So a customer email comes in. Step 1, the AI reads it. Step 2, the thinking happens. It makes a decision. It understands the intent of the email is a refund request, even if the person never actually used the word refund. Then, boom, Step 3. Based on that decision, the AI triggers the automation to perform an action, in this case, creating a support ticket. The AI decided what needed to happen, and the automation did it. So now that we see how they connect, let's zoom out of it, because it turns out that pretty much every single AI automation system in the world, big or small, follows the exact same, simple, 3-step pattern.
It always starts with an input. Some new piece of data comes into the system. Next comes the processing, which is where the AI brain does its work, analyzes the data, and makes a choice. And finally, you get the output, where the automation hands take an action in the real world. Input, processing, output. Seriously, that's the whole game.
Look, if you only remember one single thing from our entire chat today, please let it be this one idea. This is your mental map for everything that comes next in your journey.
It's as simple. Data leads to a decision, and that decision triggers an action. The data is your input. The decision is the AI processing, and the action is the automation output. This simple little flow is basically the DNA of every AI automation system you will ever encounter.
And that is the most important part. You now have the map. It doesn't matter how complicated a system looks on the outside. From now on, you can always break it down into this core triangle. You're not lost anymore. You actually know how to read the terrain.
And that's the real question, isn't it? Getting this foundation is the first and honestly the most important step. The next step is all yours. It's deciding what amazing things you're going to create with it. Because now, the possibilities are pretty much endless.